On a new Locked On Cavs, Cleveland went into South Beach, got a dub against the Heat in a playoff-y kind of game. We're going to break down that game in full, all angles of it, on a new Locked On Cavs for March 9th.
You are Locked On Cavs, your daily Cleveland Cavaliers podcast.
What's up, everybody? Chris Manning here. Evan Dammarell here. Behind the camera behind us, you can't see him if you're watching on YouTube, is producer Jake Stevens. We're live and in person. First ever Locked On in-person pod. We're going to try to do some of these going forward for playoff games, for moments where it makes sense for us to do them. Friday's episode is going to be this as well. We have a mailbag that we did. Thanks for everyone's questions. And this felt like a big game to do it. This was Cavs Heat. This was the Cavs going to South Beach late in the season against a Heat team that, even if they aren't as good as, maybe they would like, this is a team that's going to be an annoying out in the playoffs, a team that that beat the Cavs in Cleveland not that long ago. So this felt like a big one. Evan, Cavs win 104-100, tight. It was competitive late. You dealt with the Jimmy Butler stuff. Jimmy Butler took 15 free throws in this game, like just classic Jimmy Butler stuff. Cavs have a tight playoff rotation. They survived some mistakes. Like this fourth quarter was an absolute dogfight, 18-17 Heat advantage in the fourth. So just not pretty basketball. But to me, this felt like a playoff game. This felt like an intense environment that Darius, Garland, and Evan Mobley and all of these guys, Isaac Okoro making big plays in this game, are really going to benefit from, in addition to this being an important win for Cleveland.
I think Isaac Okoro is the right shout out. He went 3 of 4 from 3-point range. I asked him the other day, does he feel disrespected by teams sacking off of him on defense? And he said no, but this is a good opportunity for him to take advantage of that opportunity. And like you said, this was an ugly game at the end of the day. The Cavs weren't perfect. The Cavs were hit or miss at times, but they're able to find a win, especially because South Beach is a hard place to play in. South Beach is a hard arena.
It's a good time.
Yeah, it's a good time. Good time to put it. But
Jake Paul in audience for this one. Floyd Mayweather in audience for this one. This star-studded event,
The first one, not so much. The second one, more so much. But
wow, disrespecting a Westlake icon,
I'm fine.
It's plus 200 on FanDuel. We're getting Darius Garland in a club with Jake Paul in the next 2 days.
Okay, but either way, this is a big win for Cleveland, especially because in the playoff standings of things, they're keeping distance from New York at the end of the day. That is super, super, super important, and they are kind of just walking towards this path of locking in the 4 seed, maybe fighting for the 3 seed, and they figure out the next steps in there. But this is an ugly game. That's what you expect. We talked about this. Even before we recorded before the game, for Friday's mailbag, this is going to be an ugly game. We predicted that just because that's how Miami operates, and the Cavs responded to the adversity and just found a way to rise against the situation for them.
Here's the biggest thing for me that I think I will take away from this one is that I think it was important for them to win a game where Donovan Mitchell didn't play that well. Donovan Mitchell plays 33 minutes. He's 7 of 18 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3, only got the line 3 times.
That's the big one, the 1 of 7.
Just 18 points. So Darius Garland has 25, and we'll talk about him, I think, a lot. Evan Mobley has 15. Okoro has 13, including, makes 3 threes, which is really big. Had a big bucket late. Jared Allen played the best game he's played in some time, had 15 and 12. This is a team that has been often really Donovan Mitchell carries them. And it has been the Donovan Mitchell show. This was a playoff-y game where Donovan Mitchell did not have to be the alpha and the omega. I think if you're looking at how this is going to go, if we thought maybe the intensity coming out of the Celtics game carries them forward, and I think it did to some degree here, winning a game where you won like this without Donovan Mitchell having to do everything, I think has to be a confidence boost for the other guys on that team.
Not only that, but the bench players played. Lamar Seaton, 26 minutes, Karis LeVert, 24, Ricky Rubio, about 23. That's a confidence booster within itself because, the Cavs lean heavily on their core 4 at the end of the day. There's Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland. Those are the 4 guys they lean on. And, the fact that they're able to lean on their bench a little bit and, not rely on Mitchell so much, even though he did play 34-ish minutes tonight. Like his shot just wasn't there. But like the fact that like the Cavs are able to like, okay, we'll look at Karras, look at Ricky, we'll look at Lamar, and we'll find a way to win this game. That's super, super, super important if you're the Cavs at the end of the day.
What I tend to also come away from this one thinking is I think just standings wise, like this just matters. Like,
oh yeah,
you have this opportunity now. The Knicks blew a game to the Hornets the other night. The Cavs, when they play the Hornets in a couple days, should be like probably like thanking the Hornets before the game for like beating the Knicks at MSG. Okay?
A little bit. They put also for full disclosure, the Knicks play the Kings in Sacramento at 10 o'clock tomorrow night.
So
Friday or Thursday, so we're
Yes.
recording this episode. Either way.
Yeah. So they're going on a West Coast road trip. They're going to be at the Kings, at the Clippers, at the Lakers, and then at the Nuggets, I believe, is the 4 games. I think the 4th one is at Denver. I might be wrong about that. Okay.
No,
So-
wait, yeah.
Yeah.
Kings, Clippers, Lakers, Trailblazers, Nuggets. And then the Nuggets home. Okay. Either way.
But that's a tough 5 games.
Yeah, it
the
is.
Cavs over that same stretch have Miami twice, the Hornets, including the one Miami game they just won, and then they get Philly at home. The Philly game obviously very tough, second night of a back-to-back, all of that stuff. But the Cavs have an easier stretch there, and things have been tightening. Things have been getting closer as far as the standings go, and the Cavs have a chance to create a little distance now. They can be a team that has some separation between the 5th seed and the 4th seed. They already had an advantage with their schedule being easier. But this is a further way to cement that they're going to get home court in the first round. That is an advantage that I think they would absolutely like to have against a Knicks team that I think will be a frisky playoff opponent at the very least.
I think frisky is a good way to put it with the Knicks just because of the way they're playing right now. But more than anything, like we talked about this prior to this road trip, like the Cavs go 3-1 on this trip. Like let's say they would, obviously now they win this game, but like let's say they drop the next one to Miami. Like not a big deal because if they beat both opportunities in Charlotte, like the Knicks struggled against the Hornets. And they lost the Hornets the other day. It snapped their winning streak. But regardless of the fact, like if they're able to pull that off, and like the Cavs are able to go 3-1 on this trip, and like they just look at these micro senses of their schedule, like they break it out like chunk by chunk by chunk. It's a good way to go about it and just focus on the grand scheme of things because at this point, 1 and 2 is out of range if you're in the playoff.
3 and 3 probably.
3 is a little bit within reach, but it's not 100%. It's like you're fighting for 4. And if you want home court against the Knicks, like that's a good place to be in at the end of the day because at least it's not a guarantee of going into the second round of the NBA playoffs, but like it's an easier path than like having to say like, oh crap, we're the 5 or 6 seed and we're like fighting our way back in.
You know, I do say that like that it's I think you're more correct than me in this case. The Cavs are only 2.5 back of Philly. Philly, I think, is playing a lot better of late. But if this is close come next week and the Cavs get the tiebreaker, it's not out of the question that maybe they get up to 3. And instead of the Knicks in round 1, you get the Heat or the Nets or something like that.
For folks listening, for the next 3 games for Philly, it's in Portland on Friday, or against Portland on Friday, against the Wizards on Sunday, and then in Cleveland on Wednesday. So.
And they get the Hornets on the road.
And they get the Hornets and the Pacers, and then they're home against the Bulls. So, like, there's a lot of winnable and obtainable games here for Philly. But, like, again, Chris and I have been stressing this for a while. Like, Cavs Sixers on March 15th is, like, it's going to be a big game. Like, even if Cleveland and Philly don't finish with the same record, like, you want to have that tiebreaker advantage at the end of the day so you can handle your business. And if you happen to end up with the same record, and Chris is looking at strength of schedule right now.
Okay,
like
Cavs have the easiest schedule between now. This was going into the Miami game tonight. Easiest schedule the rest of the way. Philly has the 4th hardest, and they play the Suns, the Nets, the Cavs, the Celtics, the Nuggets, and the Bucks over that stretch. By comparison, the Cavs get Philly, they get the Knicks, they get the Nets twice, they get Miami one more time, they get Atlanta, and the Cavs still have games against. They play the Hornets 3 times, which is a blessing from the NBA schedule, guys.
it is.
They get the Houston Rockets at home.
A bad team.
That's beautiful. You get the Magic twice who are frisky. You get the Pacers. You get the Wizards. Like the Cavs just have like, that's like as if you could be gifted anything.
There's games you have to show up against. Like you have to actually show up to work against. Like especially the Pacers.
I mean, I think the Hornets like this weekend.
The Hornets and the Rockets. Days. Like those two are like a little dicey, but like the Rockets, I believe that's a chalked up win. So like. again, if the Cavs play this, like when the Cavs play the Sixers, if the Cavs win that game, like that could have a huge ramification because the Cavs could like a little bit jump up from the 4 seed to the 3 seed, and like pie in the sky scenario at that point. But
look, this game unlocked that. That winning this game unlocked. I think.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like you won ugly in this game, and you found a way to win this game, and that's the most important thing of all.
Winning is important. All right, we're gonna come back after the break. We're gonna do game awards. That is MVP, that is stat of the night, and that is play of the night. But first, let's tell you about our friends at Nissan. This episode is brought to you by Nissan. Nissan's most electric player of the week is brought to you by the all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya. Look, Evan, I think we have to give it to Evan Mobley. This has been the most electric player of the week. His leap is happening right now, right in front of our eyes. He is powerful. He's an electric two-way force. He's doing everything for the Cavs on both ends of the floor right now. And for me, when I think about him going forward, this might be the most kind of electric, upsidey breakout player for the Cavs in the playoffs.
He could be
him or DG, I think, because Donovan's been there, done that.
Yeah, like a lot of the Cavs on this roster have to prove what they're worth playoff wise, but like Evan Mobley has a propensity to go from like the third best player to the second best player come how this playoff season goes, and like he could be electric as our today's sponsor, like Nissan and the Nissan Ariya.
The 2023 Nissan Ariya packs pin to your seat power and premium intelligence all-in-one EV. The all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya, the EV for people who love to drive. Shop now at nissanusa.com. All right, game awards. Chris Manning, Evan Dammarell here. I go MVP to Darius Garland for this one. He had a couple turnovers late that put this game in a little bit of peril. I wasn't totally sure what he was doing in those moments. But Darius's final stat line, 25, 7, 2 steals, only 3 turnovers, 6 of 6 from the line, 3 of 6 from 3, 8 of 16 from the field. This was an aggressive Darius Garland, and an aggressive Darius Garland is a very, very good thing for the Cavs.
I absolutely agree. And like Nakai Duncan put in the ether, like he's like the Steve Nash of this modern NBA, and like Darius Garland like pick or chooses when he needs to score versus when he needs to facilitate. And like we're watching this game, you, myself, and producer of the program Jake Stevens, like the fact that like DG doesn't want to rip it a lot from 3-point range, but like he found a way to get everyone else involved, but also being Cleveland's leading scorer because Donovan Mitchell just didn't have it tonight. Like Miami focused on Mitchell as they should because he's the number one offensive option. And yeah, no, Darius stepped above and beyond in this game and like clearly was the best player for the Cavs at the end of the day.
Evan Mobley, I think, might be my other shot if I was going to go in a different direction.
He's my pick.
He was
two-way impact was awesome. Flirted with the triple-double, 15, 6, and 6 for him in this one. Also 1 steal, 2 blocks as well, just if you want to include all the counting stats. But like Mobley, again, continues to level up gradually as a player. Like he is already great coming into the season. He's getting better and better and better. And we're starting to see the fruits of his labor and just like what the Cavs are investing in like time and just development wise. And it's paying off in dividends. Like he just has an elite 2-way impact. Like, sure, Kevin Love only had 8 points and 8 rebounds and 2 assists in this one, but I think a lot of it does go with Evan Mobley just like kind of mitigating the factor of like that. And like you saw a lot of Mobley on Jimmy. So like Jimmy Butler sure had 28 points, but he was 12, 15.
Jimmy's just gonna do that in a game.
Yeah,
like
Jimmy's a free throw merchant. Jimmy is a free throw merchant, but the fact that Mobley is able to defend him so well and also only have 3 fouls in this game, like that's really, really good, especially against like a player that has the ability to be like an MVP caliber player in Jimmy Butler.
The thing about Mobley in this game that just was the most impressive is like every time he's like on a switch, like you watch like late in the game, Victor Oladipo is one-on-one against Mobley, and you just watch him be like, I don't know what to do. How do I attack this guy?
How do you attack an alien?
How do you attack Evan Mobley when he's just going to eat up whatever you're going to throw at him? And it's like Butler is like willing to put his shoulder into you and be strong and be physical and go for the foul. But like, if you're not at that level, it's like, I think you should just you're probably better off giving up the ball and trying to recycle possession and kickstart unless it's late in the clock and you just got to throw it through anyway. All right. Play of the night. So kind of like an ugly game at times, I will say, but if I'm going to go play, I'm going to shout out Karis LeVert here. 5:36 to go in the fourth. He gets a really nice up and under finish. Here's Karis LeVert's stat line.
John Michael called it a circus shot.
He did. Shot at the John Michael. Who, by the way, John Michael, when Darius Garland almost threw the ball away to land in this game, he goes, whoa! And like for John Michael to like
it made all three of us sitting in the room sit up and say,
because like John is
on?
like a very like even keeled broadcaster, and he just like lost his mind for half a second. I'm like, what a king, John Michael. I wonder if he does that during Notre Dame games. I imagine he does. So Karis LeVert in this game, 24 minutes, 3-6 from the field, 104 from 3, 7 rebounds, an assist, a steal, 2 turnovers, 7 points. Not like filling the stat sheet, right? You know, Jimmy Butler hunted him on in switches a couple times. And like there was a point where like I looked at you guys and was like, Karis is on a 1-on-1. Jimmy's going to get to the free throw line here. And 2 seconds later, Jimmy draws the foul and goes to the free throw line. It's like predictable. It's like clockwork. But Karis, in the way he attacked, in the way he played, I think pretty hard, in the way he's moving the ball and at least taking the shots he needs to, and had a couple, you know, good shot makes in this game, that including this one. He, like, for all of his flaws, he is at least trying to do what the Cavs need him to do. And this play was like a really like good example of that.
So I agree with you. Like, Karis LeVert doesn't, what his game impact is, like, doesn't mitigate what he is. But like, obviously I have my criticism of what he is as a player, but like, credit to him and credit to JB Bickerstaff for making the fit work. But no, this is a good play. And like, the fact that like the shot wasn't going for him, he was again 1 of 4 from 3-point range, 3 of 6 on the floor, but 7.7 rebounds, 1 assist. Like that's impactful basketball, and like what you kind of need from your pseudo 6-man at the end of the day. Like, it is interesting to note, like, Lamar Stevens passed him in bench minutes at the end of the day.
So put a pin in segment 3 that we're going to talk about the rotation.
So just to shift focus, my play of the night, and I stole it from Chris as I announced it in the room, but like Darius Garland was a little bit selfish with 8:43 left in the fourth quarter. He just ripped it from 3-point range, made the shot, and like, you don't see that often from Darius Garland at the end of the day. Like, he is not a selfish player almost to a fault at times, but he was in that moment selfish enough to take a 3-pointer, and it ended up being advantageous for the Cavs. And like, that's something I want to see more of from year 5 Darius Garland. It's weird to say, but like year 5 Darius Garland, I see him being a little bit more selfish when he has the ball in his hands, especially in like pick and roll scenarios.
Yeah, so that's a good job, because I think one thing we didn't hit enough well in the MVP thing is that this was an aggressive, like we hit it, but like the aggression of Darius Garland is something that will really matter in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
And especially if Donovan has a night where like, hey, like he's just off, or like the other team has like a wing defender that's like putting their energy onto him. Darius being aggressive, taking the threes, getting to the line, taking free throws. If he ever like adds a willingness to like try to get free throws to his game, he's just going to become such a more efficient offensive player.
Like 40, 50, 90 without a doubt.
Just think Cavs Twitter will be like, actually, like rifting his offense free throw merchantism is good. And I'll be like, I respect you guys are just like doing this, even though it's not fun. All right. Stat of the night, turnovers. Because the Cavs get 29 points off of Heat turnovers, 13 of those in the first half. The gap between the two teams got tighter, and that's part of, I think, why this game got closer. But when this game was really competitive, and over the course of it, when it was a largely competitive game with some ebbs and flows, lots of lead changes, the Cavs being the team that didn't turn the ball over a ton and took advantage of Miami's turnovers was a difference maker. So 29 of their points off of turnovers is a really, really important thing for them.
Oh, no, absolutely, especially because this is a team that predicates their identity off defense at the end of the day. Like, playing defense and leading it to points is obviously a good thing. And like my stat somewhat goes hand in hand, just the fact this was an ugly game, like a defensive first matchup. Like, Cleveland only shot 9 to 28 from 3-point range. Miami shot 8 to 29. But like, the bigger stat for me is the fact that Miami shot 22 of 29 from the free throw line, and Cleveland rather shot 17 to 19 from the free throw line. Like, the Cavs were able to find a way to win this game, despite the fact that like Jimmy Butler was the majority of those free throw attempts. He was 15 of those 29 free throw attempts, and the fact that
Butler's so funny.
He's an interesting player.
He is like just gonna, like, we keep saying this, and like I really enjoy Jimmy Butler, but like he is whatever fan base is gonna like. This is like an annual spring thing. Whatever, like if they play the Celtics in round 1, let's say, he's just gonna piss off Celtics Twitter for like 2 weeks.
Oh, for sure.
If the Cavs play the Heat in round 1, all their like angst would be like, can Jimmy Butler stop taking 20 free throws in games? Like,
oh, absolutely. Yeah. And also for the Friday episode of Locked On Cavs, we talked about like
a player that any
player we could add. Jimmy Butler would be Okay, the full disclosure, the defense between Butler, Mobley, and Allen would be insane. But regardless, the fact that the Cavs were able to shoot less free throws and make one more 3-pointer and win this game is pretty impressive in of itself. Just because, again, this was like it was a bit of a rock fight at the end of the day. Like these two teams are just like we're to grind each other into dust, and whoever happens to be the last team standing point wise wins. And I think this is a validating win if you're Cleveland.
Really big deal to go through, I think, something like this in that environment. And we'll see what Friday brings as well. All right, segment 3, we'll be right back. We're going to dive into we're going to dive into rotation questions. And also we'll talk a little bit about Kevin Love.
Yeah.
Because he did play and he did kind of do some Kevin Love-y things.
Maybe don't hurt me.
Yeah. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Built Bar. If you're looking for a delicious treat, but don't want all the fat and the calories, then you got to try a Built Bar. Look, you're getting through the holidays, you're working long days, you need a snack that is a little bit healthier for you. A Built Bar can be that. You don't want to compromise. Built Bar doesn't mean you don't have to compromise. They are actually tasty. All you have to do is order some at Built.com if you're interested, or you can go to a Walmart or Sam's Club and buy some today. Why are these good for you? Well, for starters, they're great macros. Only 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and a whopping 17 grams of protein in most of these bars. And look, you don't have to wait anymore to order them. You go to Built.com, you can order them, sure, but you have to wait for shipping and all of that stuff. At Walmart, you can go get a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs. And if you go to Sam's Club, you can go get a 13-bar box of brownie batter, churro, all of that in one. It's a great deal. Check them out. They're dropping new flavors. They just dropped a mint brownie puff. I know Evan's a big fan of the puffs.
Love them.
I know Jake, before he goes and gets jacked in the morning, is crushing like 5.
Jake, do you want one? Got some in the pantry.
Yeah, we're going to send Jake home with some. Make sure he gets he's trying to get those gains up in 2023. The biceps on this guy, just huge. But again, check out Built.com if you don't know anything, but go check the Walmart and Sam's Club for Built Bars. All right, last segment, Locked On Cavs. If you want the bonus of Jake's workout program for how big his biceps are, we have a new product coming soon that we'll tell you, but you can only get it there. But okay, so the rotation in this game. Dean Wade is out of the rotation in this game.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Deserved.
I don't mean to like laugh.
It's
just like
it's understandable, especially because how well Lamar Stevens played over the last 2 games for Cleveland. And I think
the Celtics game, I think in particular, is just like, you know what, like he earned it. He earned
it in that Celtics game, and you let him give you the benefit of the doubt in this game. Like if he stinks, go somewhere else, whether it's more minutes for Karis LeVert or you throw a shot to Dean Wade or heck, even Jetty Osman at this point. But like Lamar Stevens played well. He was 2 of 7 from the floor, 6 points, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, and about 27-ish minutes per game in this game against Miami. And like, again, just played a lot of meaningful defense. And it makes sense from like a matchup standpoint. Like you have Jimmy Butler, you have Victor Oladipo, you have Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent, even Kevin Love at some points too. Like Lamar Stevens makes more sense as a body just to throw at those guys. Yeah. And the fact that Stevens is playing well right now, ride that wave of the momentum and just crash when you can. Like, just figure out where you go.
Yeah. Look, at least with Lamar, 26 minutes, 2 of 7 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3, 2 of 2 from the line, had 6 points, 2 steals, 3 boards. The very, very least for the 3-point thing is a limitation. He's going to you have to hope he's going to get hot at the right time, I think, with his threes, and just hope that's enough. But he's cutting to the rim. Yeah. He's at least doing stuff. And I still don't really totally trust what this rotation is. I thought Rubio had a better game. He looked a little bit better to me than he did of late. I thought LeVert at least tried, but those guys combined for 18 points and on a combined 7 made field goals. That's just a very tough spot to be in. That's what you're getting from your bench. You need a little more oomph, if at all possible. I think at least Lamar is going to come in and he's going to know what he's going to do. The other guy we should shout out is Isaac Okoro, because 13 points, 5 of 7 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3. Got the ball in the corner and let it fly. He looked comfortable. He looked confident. This was a really good Okoro performance, and late in the game had a really big bucket. He gets an offensive rebound and tips it in, gets a little flex on it. It's a big, big moment for Okoro. He played really, really well.
Yeah, he played super well. And I talked about it the last segment of the first segment. I asked him, like, do you feel disrespected when opponents leave you wide open? Like, no, I just have to make those opportunities. And tonight he was 3 from 3-point range. Like, the Heat left him open at times and they didn't adjust properly. And like the fact that especially in the second half, and like he made like a couple of those shots, like to lead like that second half run for Cleveland, like that is encouraging within of itself, because it's a bit of a rock fight for the Cavs. And the fact that they're able to seize momentum in the second half in hostile territory, and like with a guy like Isaac Okoro kind of leading the charge like that, like it's refreshing in that aspect. But like the fact that like Okoro looks functional within this dichotomy for the offense, and like again, he finished the night with 13 points, but like in most nights, like 8 to 10 points, solid defense, like that's what you want from him at the end of the day. But like you get a little extra 3-point shooting boost, hey, take it.
Yeah. Let's end on Kevin Love. So Kevin Love did draw a charge in this game, which just delighted me. My king drawing a charge on Evan Mobley. Love that for him, just like pulling out the old tricks. I hope that the coaching staff like shows Evan the clip and is like, Evan, like, you know, this is what
it's like, don't bite
come
on
on,
it,
man. But had 4 points early, 20 minutes, 4-7 from the field, didn't make a 3, 8 boards. Like, look, I'm sure it felt weirder for them, and I'm sure, like, in person, it was kind of like intriguing. I know the Cavs social team did a cool job of, and I'm sure it was our friend of the program, Jimmy Longo, or Courtney, or someone else taking the photos, but like documenting everyone saying hi to Kevin, and like it is a big deal. This was cool. I think his return, whatever team he's on next year, the first game back in Cleveland will feel like it'll be a big deal and all of that stuff. But weird to see him. Weird to see him on the opposite side of a team playing the Cavs. I got the sense just how hard he was trying early and being assertive that like he kind of wanted to make sure he played well.
It's a little weird because he had the Ransom letter Miami Heat jersey on first, but like I'm scrolling through the social media right now.
The photo of him and Ricky, it's just like it's like two old like war buddies.
Two old heads.
Yeah, two old like war buddies reunited at the VFW.
We've seen some stuff. Now we're in Miami enjoying the retired life at this point.
we both had weird times.
What's the golf scene? But like even him with like Darius, like Chris Fedor from Cleveland.com pointed out the fact that like Kevin Love was Darius Garland's veteran for the longest time. Like he called him a quote unquote an a-hole, Darius to Kevin, but like learned to warm up from him. And like you wrote a wonderful feature on the fact that like a lot of people like use Kevin Love opening up about his mental health struggles as a conduit to like address what they have going through with them as well. And like
his legacy
is it's bulletproof.
It's chiseled in a stone that like can't be weathered away.
Yeah, it's just and it's not just the basketball stuff. Like yes, there's the stop, there's the WWE type belt, there's the cigar, there's the stuff he did as a 6-man,
taking 2 beers to the face.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot of stuff you can say about Kevin Love in his time with the Cavaliers, but like his off the court stuff is just so much bigger at the end of the day. And like talking with him about it, you talking to him about it, or just like talking about people who are impacted by it, like it's bigger than basketball. And like I think there's a little bit of emotional weight heading into this game. Like I think you're lying if you're the Cavs and you say that, like especially with some of the younger guys. But like the fact that it seems like there's no, like we're watching the clip of him and Darius hugging each other right now. Like there's no animosity. Like it feels like there's no bad blood despite the Drake.
No, I mean, the tension I don't think was between him and like the players or like his feeling towards like the Cavs as like an organization or the city. I think it's the reporting is all like it's at the decision maker level.
It's a tough pill to swallow, I think. And I think it's also just hard because I look at it this way, like, again, the Cavs don't see Kevin Love as like a tangible part of their future, nor should they.
I mean, they made a choice.
And Dean Wade was a choice. And
Dean Wade got outplayed by Lamar Stevens.
Yeah, he got outplayed by Lamar Stevens. But like in this juncture, like Lamar Stevens or Dean Wade is part of the future. Kevin Love is not. And like you have to do right by him and buy out his contract and let him move on. And like, I don't know, getting the first win over this like kind of puts the distraction in the rearview mirror a little bit. And we'll see how game 2 goes.
But. Yeah, so let's end on that. 30 seconds. We didn't really we obviously didn't touch on this. We have an episode coming on Friday ahead of round 2. That's in the can. We did a mailbag. Check that out. So having just watched this game, give me just 30 seconds. Jake, tell us when he's up on his 30 seconds, okay? Get that out. Tell me one thing that you want to see on Friday? Give me like a tactile thing, a stat. Just give me something you want to see on Friday.
I want to see the Cavs utilize Darius Garland a little bit more as a selfish ball handler. Like, let him shoot more from 3-point range. Let him do a little bit more on offense. Just like, especially if Donovan Mitchell is going to be the primary focus for Miami on defense, like find ways to like utilize and empower Darius in that way, because it's a good learning lesson in that aspect. Because come playoff time, like there's going to be teams who focus on Donovan and find ways to work ways through it, and then let Darius just figure it out for the Cavs and find a glimpse of what was last year. All right, 30 seconds to you.
I want to see if they can pair aggressive. I want to see if they can just more work on aggressive Darius being paired with a Donovan who's a little more efficient. Because I think that is like the version of the Cavs that if that exists, if you can find that a couple games in a series and use that as like a springboard for into the playoffs and like into the future with these two, that is the best version of those two to do, is that you're going to find really aggressive Darius with the Donovan just humming along and get them as two sides of that coin and really humming along. So that's what I'm looking for. But let's end there. I'm Chris Manning. That is Evan Dammarell. Jake Stevens, thanks again for producing, making all the technological stuff work. Shouts to Evan's fiance for letting us record at his home.
Yeah.
Real MVP. Real MVP is her. Thanks again for making us your first listen every day. This episode, again, was produced by Jake Stevens. Check out the Marrier on Spotify, Apple Music, your music platform of choice. Jake, are they going to be able to like buy your music on Bandcamp? Is that going to be a thing people are going to be able to do?
Yeah, it's up now, I think.
All right,
Go buy it on Bandcamp.
Give him the
Listen
money
to it
to-
on Spotify. Give Jake the money.
Yeah,
if you don't,
I love money.
you're a hater.
Now for your second listen, check out Game to Game NBA. Every moment, every top performance, every result. Locked In Game to Game covers every game from across the NBA with local analysis only Locked In can deliver. Game to Game is on Locked In NBA, Odyssey app, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. We're out of here. I'm Chris. That's it.